back for round two, and this is going to be my much awaited Stephen King TBR on its fourth leg. And I gotta say, I got some chunky books on this list. So this is going to be very Dark Tower heavy, but I have some novels, I have some short story collections, and I have some novella collections. So without further ado, I'm very excited to begin with this video, and I'm going to give you guys the order in which I will read these books. So let's kick this thing off with the first book that I started a couple of nights ago that I'm hoping to conquer this month. That first book is Billy Summers. And this was released in 2021. And this is basically like a thriller about a Iraq war veteran who goes to like the small town and he's in charge of like a hit. So I'm not very far in this. I'm hoping to like read more of it today. But he gets into writing, and this goes into like a road trip near the end. So I've heard a lot of people enjoy this one. I'm only on like page 20, so I barely even started this thing, but I did start it, so that's good to know. But I'm very excited to get into this one. That is Billy Summers. And the next two books are going to be companion novels. While they're not really novels, they're collections that just so happens to look similar. Here they are. Everything's Eventual. This has 14 Dark Tales. And this is going to be my next short story collection. This has the likes of Autopsy Room 4, The Man in the Black Suit, All That You Love Will Be Carried Away, The Death of Jack Hamilton, In the Death Room, The Little Sisters of Eluria, which is a gunslinger prequel, Everything's Eventual, LT's Theory of Pets, The Road Virus Heads North, Lunch at the Gotham Cafe, That Feeling You Can Only Say What It Is in French, 1408, Riding the Bullet, and Lucky Quarter. So, of course, 1408 would be the one that I know the most, but I think Riding the Bullet is, I don't know if it's a werewolf story, but I've heard of it. But I just know that Little Sisters of Eluria deals with like vampiric nuns. So this sounds really interesting. Of course, I want to get through his short story collections. And this is book number 2, Everything's Eventual. Next one, Hearts in Atlantis. And this is a novella collection, so this will be my third read novella collection. And this collects Low Men and Yellow Coats, Hearts in Atlantis, Blind Willie, Heavenly Shades of Night Are Falling. So, does this have 4 or 5? Okay, so Blind Willie is the last one. Hearts in Atlantis. You get the drift. But yeah, this has novellas that connect to like the Vietnam War. I've heard a lot of people really enjoy this one, and that's book number 3. And now, the moment y'all been waiting for, and the moment I'm dreading, book number 3 is going to be, well, book number 4 will be Dark Tower 3, The Wastelands. And, of course, don't know much about this, but I think it has something to do with, like, a train. So, yeah. But you have the introduction of Blaine the Mono, the Practical Gasher, the Piratical Gasher, and the Frightening TikTok Man. So, this is definitely going to be a little bit more awesome. Because, I mean, I've heard a lot of people actually like enjoy this one a lot more. And I think this is where action actually picks up. That was a mouthful. But that was The Wastelands, Dark Tower 3. Moving right along, I have a break from these gigantic books. This is going to be Roadwork by Richard Bachman. And this is found in the Bachman books. I think it's the 3rd book in that book. But this is about a man who just recently lost his mom. And you have like developers trying to build a highway. And he's going to stop the developers from doing that. So, very different approach for Stephen King, but this is back in his early days, so I've been wanting to get back into Bachman, and this is the one I picked. That is Roadwork. Next is getting right back into fantasy, but this is like straight fantasy. The Eyes of the Dragon. And this is basically like a medieval YA novel. And he like wrote it directly for his daughter. So this just has a lot of knights and dragons. And I do believe that Randall Flagg makes an appearance in this. So I'm very excited to read this. And that is Eyes of the Dragon. And moving right along in this foray of giant books, the longest song on this list, Wizard and Glass, Dark Tower 4. Help me. But this, I believe, is very divisive among Dark Tower fans because 85% of this or 90% of this novel is just a flashback. And I heard that there's barely any action in it, so that's fun. But that is all I know about Wizard and Glass, but a lot of people love this. I'll see how I feel. Wizard and Glass, Dark Tower 4. And I'm just going to rip off the Band-Aid and give you guys Wind Through the Keyhole, Dark Tower 4.5. And this is, I wouldn't say like a novella, because it goes to uh, it goes to 309, so it's slightly longer than The Gunslinger. But this is a story that he wrote after finishing the Dark Tower series. And this is between Wizard and Glass and Wolves of the Kala. So I don't know much about this, but I think that this is, it says it features Jake, Susanna, Eddie, and Oi, and they're encountering a ferocious storm. So, yeah. It should be a pretty tame one to get through because it's not very long. But, yeah, that's all I got for that. The Wind Through the Keyhole. Followed by Dark Tower 5, Wolves of the Kala. And you're wondering, why would you read 3 Dark Tower books in a row? I'm wondering that myself. But I just thought to get most of these things read in this leg. But yeah. And I'm not even going to read the synopses to these 3 books because I don't know anything. But I mean, it's probably going to be another good one. Very long one, of course, but that is Wolves of the Kala. And those are all of the Dark Tower books that I have in this leg. But I have a couple more books to get through. The rest of these books, mostly novels. Then I have another short story and novella collection. So the next one I want to show off is from a Buick 8. And this is kind of in the vein of Christine and Trucks in a way, because this car opens up a portal in the trunk, and that's all I know about this one. So it's nearly 400 pages, but it's pretty tame compared to what I'm reading. But that is from a Buick 8. Next are going to be my next short story and novella collections. Just After Sunset is going to be my 5th read short story collection. And this collects Willa, The Gingerbread Girl, Harvey's Dream, Rest Stop, Stationary Bike, The Things They Left Behind, which is like a 9/11 story, Graduation Afternoon, N, The Cat from Hell, The New York Times at Special Bargain Rates, Mute, Iana, A Very Tight Place, and those are the stories. So 13. Yeah, there's 13 stories in here, so I'm very excited to dive into this one once I get to that point. But that is Just After Sunset. And once I'm done with Just After Sunset, I'll only have The Bazaar of Bad Dreams and You Like It Darker, which is coming out in May. So once I conquer these two short story collections, I'll be closer. I shall have two more. But moving on, my next novella collection is Full Dark, No Stars. And these are mainly thriller novellas. And this collects 1922, Big Driver, Fair Extension, and A Good Marriage. So, I've never seen 1922 or A Good Marriage or Big Driver, so I might have to do a little bit of research before I read this, but I think 1922 is basically the most horror you're going to get in this, but the other three are basically like domestic thrillers. So I'm very excited about this, and that is next. And I have three more novels left here. Let's get them going. First one, Desperation. And this is about the mining town of Desperation, Nevada. And there is like a monster by the name of Tack as your main villain. So, for a lot of people enjoy this one. Of course, another gigantic mess of a book, because I really picked them out this time. So, that's Desperation. And I just had to bite the bullet. I'm going to read The Regulators right after. So, that's pretty good progress on Richard Bachman in this leg. And this is, of course, the companion novel that is so bonkers, and it's very mixed towards people. So, actually looking very much forward to these two. And to round off this video, my last and final book, and I really had to decide on this one, but ultimately, Dreamcatcher, God help me. But this is the infamous novel that he wrote after his accident, and it's a sci-fi novel, and it brings back the town of Derry. So there are aspects of it in this novel, but I heard a lot of people do not enjoy this book at all. I've heard some people enjoy it, but I don't know how I'm going to enjoy it, but God, my copy is like 868 pages. So I'm ending with the atomic bomb of literature. These are the 15 books that I'm going to be reading in the near future. And I'm going to be here a while. But yeah. That's all I got for this leg of Stephen King. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And let me know down in the comments if you've read these novels and give me your thoughts. But to round out this little Stephen King marathon, I'm going to rank the 16 novels that I read before these. So I'll get that video set up and try to remember my thoughts, because I started that leg back in 2021. So I did read a lot of great novels in that list. So you'll get my full thoughts on that once I get that going. But as for now, that's all I got for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and keep reading and stay awesome. Adios. Peace.